Like you guys may have learned in the tutorial or the lab session, a div is a container element that holds other elements. Okay? So we can go back to our HTML page and close, let me delete all of these elements. So let's say I have a div right here. I can surround this element, this href element, with a div or a container element. And then I can give it a class attribute that says, let's say, I don't know, link container. So this class attribute, the name of the class, can be any name you want it to be. I'm just using it as something that I can use to identify the element so I know quickly what it means and I can give it styles. Okay? So now if I can also surround this element with another div element. Okay? So this will be called title container. Okay, so if we go back to our page, you'll see that the divs, they don't affect how the element looks, or that doesn't affect what the element does in any way, but they're just used so that you can put multiple elements inside one element and then be able to style it or control how it looks. So you can be able to style or control how multiple elements look very easily. Okay, so when you have a big website, you can put like 10 elements inside of one div, and then that one div will be used to you can only style that one div instead of giving every single element inside of that div a different style, the same style. Okay, so let me go back to our presentation, and the next thing we're going to learn about are HTML comments. Okay, so this goes with divs. HTML comments just let you do your programming job easier. Okay, so if I go back to our page, you see when you have a big HTML page, you'll have a lot of different elements doing different jobs. And sometimes when you take a break from your code and then you come back and you look at it, you might be very confused because it's been a long time since you looked at your code and you don't know why you did something or where you did it. So an HTML comment, our comments are used aren't displayed in the browser, but they help you document. So HTML code, we can write an HTML comment like this. We just write 2 slashes, and then we're going to write the name of the comment. So let's say I want it to be oh no, not 2 slashes, like this. So we write it like an element, but we put an exclamation in front of it and then 2 dashes. Okay, and then VS Code will automatically complete the comment element for you. Control Z and then go down. Okay, so inside of our HTML comment, we can write, for example, we can write anything we want. So let's say we want this, we want to talk about this element right here. So we're going to say this is a container to hold the bottom link. Okay, and then let's say let's write another comment down here that says this is a container to hold the title page, the title of the page. Okay, so now let me save it, and then if we go back to our website, you'll see nothing is affected, right? Because all we added were comments. So remember, you start a comment like this with a bracket or a less than symbol, an exclamation, and then 2 dashes. And then you end it with 2 dashes and then a greater than symbol. Okay? So you can also use comments to write a to-do list, for example. So let's say we write to-do with capital letters, and we're going to write make sure to add more elements, to add more title elements. If you want to make like a bullet point, you can just use the star symbol on your keyboard, and then you can add another one, and then I can say make sure to make page background black. So this way, if I take a break from my code and then I come back, I'll know what I need to do and I'll know what I've done. Okay. So now let's go back to our presentation. And okay, so the next thing we're going to learn about is HTML images. Okay. So just like you can probably guess, an HTML image is used to display an image on your web page. The HTML image doesn't have any content inside of it. So it's just like the line break tag that we talked about, or the horizontal line tag. It will present an image, and you can't put any like text inside of it, okay? Because all it does is present the image. The first thing that we're going to need is that we're going to need to download an image. So let me just go over here, and then let's say I want to put a home symbol on my image, on my web page. Okay, so let's write home image. Okay, let's write cartoon. Okay, so let's go to images, and let's say I like this one. So usually when you're making a professional website, you need to use images that you have a copyright license to. Otherwise, the company that you take the image from can sue you. But we're just using this as an example, so it's okay. Okay. So I'm going to right-click this image, and then I'm going to click Save Image As. So when I save the image, I'm going to first go into my my web development page right here, 2022 Web Dev Tutorial, and then I'm going to go inside my class folder. So the exact folder where my web page is. And then I'm going to give this image a different name by clicking down here at File Name. Then I'm going to, let's say, Home Image. I'm going to, like this, Home Image, IMG. And then I'm going to save it. Okay? So now the image is downloaded. And if we go back into our Visual Studio Code, you can see over here we now have another home image file that pops up, because the Visual Studio Code is always updating, automatically updating. So if I click this, we can see our home image. So how do we put this image inside of our web page? So we just go here. So how about we make another container? We're going to call this div, and then the class will be content container. Okay? Now inside of here, we're going to make an image element. We're going to open the bracket, and then we're going to put image, and then close it. Okay? Notice how this time VS Code doesn't close the element for me, because it's not meant to contain any content inside of it other than the image. So inside the image, I'm going to give it another attribute, just like the anchor attribute, just like the href attribute for the anchor element. I'm going to write source, or src, and then I'm going to write the name of the file that I want to put inside the image, that I want the image to present. So I'm going to write home image dot JPG. So now I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go back to my browser and go into my home page and close this tab. And now let me refresh. So now you guys can see that we have the image popping up, right? So to be secure, most sites, they give another attribute to the image tag. It's called alt. So alt, and what alt does is that if the browser cannot present the image for any reason, or if the image is not in the correct form for the browser, or if you used a wrong name for the source, the web browser will find the alt attribute and then will present those words instead. So I'm going to say there was supposed to be an image here, or I'm going to write home image. This alt attribute will also be presented, for example, when the web browser is loading the image. If you have a big image, while the web browser is loading, it will show the alt attribute, okay? So now let me go back, and right now, because my web browser is, it works, because the image works, I don't see the alt attribute. But let's say I change the name, I make the name wrong. What if I forget the O in the in the home image name? Let me refresh, and now you see it says home image right here. And then it gives you an image icon to show you that it's not just text, it's there's supposed to be an image there. Okay? So now let me just change it back and refresh the page. So another two attributes that you can give an image tag is the height and the width attribute. You can also set this in the styles, but the image element also gives you these attributes itself. So let's say I want to make this image a bit smaller. Okay? To do that, I'm going to write height equals, and then I'm going to write how many pixels I want the image to be. So let's say I want the image to be 100 pixels high, and then I want the width to also be 100 pixels, so it's a perfect square. Okay? Now let me go back and let me refresh the page. So now you see it's a bit small because it's only 100 pixels on my computer screen. So let's say I want it 3 times bigger. I'm going to make it 300 pixels by 300 pixels. Now let me refresh. There we go. Now it's a perfect page. It's perfect size. Okay. So this was HTML images. Now we're gonna go on to HTML tables. Okay. We're gonna stop the recording.